Hello Salesforce Ohana, Walters 954 here, and in this video I will be setting up the Salesforce CLI with IntelliJ and Illuminated Cloud. So if you're looking to get set up with Illuminated Cloud and IntelliJ, they are my favorite IDEs, then you are in the right place. So the first thing we're going to need to do is actually go ahead and download and start the install for the Salesforce CLI. Make sure that all of the options are checked when you're going through the installer, and you're just going to kind of next through everything. You want to make sure that you're installing it in the right location. For me, it's the C drive, and if you didn't notice, I'm on a Windows machine. So while that is going through, I am now going to also jump over to the IntelliJ downloader, and of course links to all of this stuff will be in the description below. But I'm gonna jump into the IntelliJ installer and go ahead and start that installation process. As a reminder, IntelliJ is not free, but it is a really powerful IDE for Salesforce development and Java development in general. So I think it's maybe 170 for individuals. I do just have my own copy, but try to get this through your employer, or there is I think there's a free community edition, or you get like 30 days free or something like that. So definitely check out what your options are there. Now, jumping into the actual installer, you want to make sure to create a desktop shortcut and associate all the programs with it and add the bin. Basically, check all the boxes is what I'm saying here. That'll really help make sure everything goes smoothly and let that installer run. Now that that is finished, it looks like our Salesforce CLI is done. So let's test that out to actually make sure that it is working properly. You want to open up a terminal and type in SFDX in the terminal. Once you press enter, at the top it'll give you your version, and it will also give you some tips and commands that you can use. From here, you want to go ahead and use SFDX update, and this will update your Salesforce CLI. Just because we downloaded it doesn't mean that it's the latest version, so download that. And if this isn't working for you, let's say you've tried using SFDX in the terminal and it didn't work, you want to come into your environment variables and make sure that this bin program files /sfdx/bin is in your path. And once you get that set up, make sure to just restart your terminal and everything should work fine there. Now it looks like our IntelliJ is done installing. I'm not going to restart my computer just yet. I'm living on the edge, right? So let's see about getting this up and running and started so that we can actually develop using the IDE. Now that we have IntelliJ opened up, we need to log in. So if you have a license already, you can go ahead and log in with your credentials. You'll just hit log in, it'll pop another screen and you can sign in. So I'll skip this part so you guys can't steal my license or anything like that. And if you just need a community edition or a free edition, you'll be able to just skip through this part for right now. Next, we need to actually install the Illuminated Cloud plugin. So if you've never heard of Illuminated Cloud, it is a plugin that allows you to deploy your metadata into Salesforce, and it is built on top of the IntelliJ IDE. So just like in Visual Studio Code, where you need the Salesforce extension pack, this basically works like the Salesforce extension pack, just pretty much super powered. Inside of IntelliJ. So you'll need this to be able to do any of your development, or I'll say a lot of your development on the Salesforce platform using IntelliJ. Now you can get away hard coding some things with the SFDX, but the whole reason we kind of want to use this IDE and it is because of Illuminated Cloud and how well they work together. Once again, this is a paid tool. I think it costs about $100 for the year. I am not sponsored by them in any way, and I encourage you to get your employers to actually pay for these things for you. A lot of times I have never paid for any of these tools. I've just gotten employers to pay for it. But the combination of these two really allow you to take advantage of a lot of the autocompletes, and just, I'm not even going to get into all of it. I'll have separate videos on all of the great stuff about Illuminated Cloud and IntelliJ, but it just makes you an extremely efficient programmer when you're using all of these tools together. So professionally, these are the tools that I use. Now we're going to create a project. So when you go in here and try to create a project, you'll see all these different types, but what we care about is the Illuminated Cloud and Illuminated Cloud SFDX. So there's two types, but we're going to focus on Illuminated Cloud SFDX. That's probably what most of you are going to want to stick with. This is the new way of creating projects. So let's go ahead and create a project name. We'll call it Mindful Moose for my Trailhead Playground. And you want to click Generate with Manifest. And this will create a package XML that we can manipulate and go off of. Now we'll be setting up some project information, which I'm setting that all to the default, and then our project is generating. So on my other screen, it popped the entire window, but I'm not able to drag it over because this Illuminated Cloud window popped up first. And what we need to do is tell Illuminated Cloud where our Salesforce CLI is. We'll hit the little folder, and it went to the correct location, but if you installed your Salesforce CLI in a different location, then you may want to navigate to that. But you're looking for this CMD file here. Now, let me bring this over from my other screen. We have a Salesforce SFDX project that has been generated. There's a few little quirks, at least for the first time that you ever create a SFDX project using Illuminated Cloud. I'm just checking really quick for any updates, and now we are seeing some errors come through, and Illuminated Cloud will try to help you resolve them. So generally, if it's asking for you to resolve an issue, go ahead and hit the resolve icon, and it'll try to walk you through. So now what the issue is here is that we don't have a connection set up. We need to set up an org for this specific project. We see when I hit this drop down for connections, I have a ton of options, but you probably don't have any. And that's okay, because I'll walk you through how to add a connection. If you don't have the options that I'm showing you, or like it's grayed out at the top here where you add your connections, then you want to just check the the SFDX and the CLI locations that we showed before. Now I'm going to basically re-authenticate using the globe. What this does is it pops a browser window and it logs you into the org using OAuth. So this is my preferred method. In other circumstances, you may want to use the other ones, but I really recommend this option for logging in. We can see here it popped this screen. I'm going to fill out my username and password. Since I've already done this on this org, it didn't ask me, but it may ask you to authorize Salesforce DX. Go ahead and hit yes with all of that stuff. And this is what we're looking for. The authorization was successful, and we can see that I'm fully through inside of the org. So if we've gotten all the way through here, then we are set up. And what we want to do next is set this project to that specific org if it didn't already get set there. We can see my connection's done, and I want to hit OK. So there are still some issues. Illuminated Cloud wants to load in a bunch of files and properties so that we can do things like autocomplete, and so that we have some indexing and caching done. And it's going to restart your IDE a couple times just to make sure that all of that is done. So I'm trying to resolve out a lot of these issues here, but I'm still running into a few errors. And the way that I kind of solve this, at least for the initial load, because we're not seeing like any SFDX files, and those should get generated automatically. So what I'm going to do is just create another project and name it exactly the same thing. Maybe in the beginning we should start by calling it a test project. Every time I set up Illuminated Cloud and SFDX for the first time, I have this issue. So I'm just going to create a new project. And since SFDX will be set up properly from the beginning, it will load in some new files, and we can see there on the left that it is showing us some different information. So I'll go ahead and select that connection that I was working with from before, and everything is looking a little bit better now. And it's going to start loading in those symbol tables, which are basically the information from the org, like the objects and things like that. It's loading that all in so we can have, you know, autocomplete and really cool features. At the bottom, we can see that it's saying, all right, S objects are loading and things are just loading and processing, and that is great. We want to kind of wait until all of that is done before we get too far into our work, because it may ask us to reload. So now we can kind of see in our folder structure here that there's nothing in our force-app. That's where we should see like our Apex classes and stuff like that. And there are some things in our package XML. So that members star means that we should pull everything in, but we're not seeing that. Now that these reloads are finished, and let me just download this Java just to get it out of the way, we can actually pull in the, well, what else do we have here? Setting our directories. Okay, we need some new files here for .sfdx, so that's fine. So now that those are configured, I think we're finally ready to actually pull in. I'm going to right click and go to Illuminated Cloud and retrieve our metadata. But we see there's so many other commands. There's so much this can actually do, but I'm not going to worry about that for right now. I'm going to retrieve my metadata, and I'm not seeing anything yet. And that's because my context is not correct. The context basically dictates it's where you clicked from. So I like to change it to project, and that's pulling everything from my package XML, and I'm going to hit retrieve. And once again, at the bottom, we can see that, hey, a bunch of values have, a bunch of things were loading, and now we have pulled in a lot of the metadata from our org. So this is great. We're getting ready to start working. Just going to make a small change here, updating the system debug, and I hit Control S to save. And now I'm going to open the org to see if my changes actually went through. And in the recently used, I can see that that's the same class that I just worked on, and the S is capitalized in that. So that's about it for getting our Illuminated Cloud, IntelliJ, and SFDX set up inside of this org. So now we can do development on our sandbox orgs and in many different areas. This is just the beginning. I'll probably do a bunch more tutorials on this. If this video was helpful, let me know in the comments down below. If there's something specific that you would like to know about Illuminated Cloud, I will do my best to explain it. But Illuminated Cloud also has a YouTube channel, Twitter, you know, they're a company, so they have all the social medias. Definitely check them out. One of my favorite plugins to use. It really helps me be more efficient as a developer. And yeah, that's about all that I have for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Walters954, and remember, I believe in you.